Hello, Star Trek fans. Welcome back to Movie Review Plus. Today, we're diving into a fascinating corner of the Star Trek universe that's been a mystery for decades. Section 31. Is it as good as we hoped? Or is this latest addition to the Star Trek canon a step too far? Let's find out. In case you're unfamiliar, Section 31 is a covert organization within Starfleet, first introduced in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's a shadowy, secretive faction that operates outside the usual moral constraints, using espionage and manipulation to protect the Federation. But it wasn't until the Star Trek Discovery era that we saw the organization brought into the spotlight. The big question on everyone's mind was, how would Star Trek expand on Section 31 in its own show? And how would they bring the complex, morally gray nature of this group to life? Let's break it down. First off, the cast. Section 31 is headlined by Michelle Yeoh as Emperor Georgiou, reprising her role from Discovery. She brings her trademark charisma and gravitas to the character, making her the perfect fit for the morally ambiguous leader of a covert operation. The dynamic of her character in the show is fascinating. We see her balancing her ruthless, authoritarian background with the complex ethical dilemmas of Section 31's operations. What's really engaging here is how Georgiou's journey evolves. She's not just a cold, calculating figure. We see a lot of internal conflict, which adds depth to the story. The relationship between her and her fellow operatives also adds to the intrigue and tension. These characters are not just pawns in a big galactic game. They have their own motivations, and that makes the stakes feel more personal. Speaking of stakes, the action is top-notch. As expected from Star Trek, there's plenty of high-stakes missions, espionage, and tense moments that keep you on the edge of your seat. It's a lot grittier than what we've seen in the past, which is a refreshing change. The show has a unique tone, blending Star Trek's optimism with the dark, morally ambiguous nature of Section 31. Now let's talk about the world building. One of the things that really stands out in Section 31 is how it expands the Star Trek universe. We're taken deep into the world of espionage, subterfuge, and the consequences of playing fast and loose with the truth. It also gives us a closer look at the Federation's more unsavory side, which adds complexity to their often utopian image. Where the show falters, though, is pacing. Some episodes feel a little slow, as they focus heavily on character development and moral quandaries at the expense of plot momentum. For some, this is a bonus, but for others, it might feel like a drag. Also, there's the challenge of keeping Star Trek's exploration of morality and idealism intact while diving deeper into such murky waters. Still, Star Trek. Section 31 isn't afraid to ask the tough questions. What happens when you push the boundaries of what's right to keep the greater good intact? It challenges everything we've come to know about the Federation's ideals, and that's what makes it so compelling. So should you watch Star Trek Section 31? If you're a fan of Star Trek looking for something darker and more introspective, this is definitely a show worth checking out. It's a mix of thrilling espionage, complex characters, and a fresh perspective on the Star Trek universe. But if you're someone who prefers the more optimistic, exploratory side of the franchise, this might not be for you. That's all for today's review. If you've seen Star Trek Section 31, let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a review. Until next time, live long and prosper.